us living here in Quebec. English, Italian, Spanish, Greek, everybody. You know what? This is one like first country.
Now, there is, I mean, obviously what the PQ would say is that they're trying to protect French language. It's surrounded by a large Anglophone community in Canada, the United States. And here, why do you feel, and why do people here feel that they may have gone too far?
Because they have protected the French language. The majority of people here do speak French. What they're trying to do is a dictatorship again. They're trying to tell me what I can speak at home, what I can speak in the streets, and you're trying to tell people that are coming in that speak English, Spanish, Greek, you're not welcome here, only French, nothing of that.
What do you think about it? I mean, Madame Marois wouldn't agree with you. She seems to think that Montreal is too English. What do you think about that?
She should practice her English a little bit more. So that's fine. Right on! En fait, je parle italien, français et anglais. Très bien. Moi aussi. There you go. Yes. Woo!
So the office at Anglais, are we trying to promote English or are you trying to promote bilingualism?
Bilingualism.
Thank you very much. That's why I like it.
Oh, pleasure.
Oh, thank you. Hey, how you doing? Good, how are you? Good, how you doing?
No, I need to listen to it.
What's your name?
I like this.
Can you, spell it? Yeah, please.
Yeah, that's right. Or like this.
Hey, you want to hold the camera?
Spell.
Okay, it's on. You want to?
And Jimmy spelled J-I-M-M-Y, not J-I-M-M-Y. Okay, yeah, no, you never know, right? You never know. Anyway, so tell me a little bit about the movie. Anglophone.
I know you want to. I'm short-tempered. You got me off guard here. I just want to say one thing. I want to say that we're here as one voice to tell everyone in Quebec, to tell everybody in all the political parties, to tell Mr. Harper that we're sick and tired of being picked on. We are sick and tired of being discriminated against, and it's time Mr. Harper stands up for the minority English-speaking historic community in Quebec. Enough is enough.
And right on.
What do you think about some of the rhetoric in this campaign? There's obviously been a lot of talk about the PQ extending powers to Bill 101 and even the CAQ extending French powers. What are your thoughts about the rhetoric in this language?
First of all, you have to amend the Official Languages Act, which I don't think they can do it, so it's a non-starter, non-issue. But just to go out and try to take advantage or try to extend it is like an insult to this historic community, the English-speaking community. I'd like to say it's time that Bill 101 was amended to include English as an official language of Quebec.
And why do you think, I mean, how can you convince Francophones and some of these maybe more hardline separatists that Quebec wasn't just founded by the French alone, that it was founded by First Nations people, it was founded by English, founded by Germans, founded by other cultures, and has become a multicultural society? How can you convince some of these more hardline separatists that that's what should be done?
Just ignore them.
I think you have to look at the French communities outside of Quebec. They're protected. In Ontario, they're protected by the Office of the Francophone Affairs. Any sort of minority with a good proportion of French, there is protection on the provincial level. Even at the municipal level, there's a lot of communities that are Francophone and Anglophone, they're bilingual. So I think we have to look at the same situation here in Quebec with a smaller threshold. 50% of mother tongue or English is way too high. We got to look at 10-15% of the territory should be bilingual in different parts of Montreal or Quebec.
Thanks, Jimmy.
I think Hugo's over there.
And Jimmy,
Anglophone.
yeah, can I use that?
Yeah, you can use it.
Can I give a copy?
It's actually on YouTube. It used to be a DVD. Now Anglophone, just type in Anglophone documentary. It's the struggle for Canada and Quebec, and it basically talks about the sort of like the Anglophone movement that we had.
Think we can get a two-shot? For me? Absolutely. Maybe for Jimmy too. So yeah, just keep telling me about Anglophone.
You ready?
Yeah, tell me about Anglophone. It's okay.
Anglophone is a movie that was...
Turn your sign around.
that depicts the English rights movement in the late 80s all the way to the millennium. It talks about the struggles for Canada in Quebec. It talks about the Clarity Act, talks about the Supreme Court reference, talks about the boycotts, the court challenges we had in regards to Bill 101. It talks about the heroes, the people who stood up against, like all the people here who are standing up against all odds. It talks about that we belong in the historic community.
Thanks, Jimmy.
Thanks.
You said there's Hugo.
Yeah, you got to talk to Hugo.
That's Hugo.
Éliminer la discrimination basée sur langue au Québec. Et nous proposons qu'on abolit la loi 101 et 169 avec la loi 199 qui reflète la réalité bilingue de notre province. We have the right and freedom to use English language as equal as the French language. Égalité, fraternité. To remove all barriers in education, business, and government concerning Bill 101 for everyone because liberty creates wealth. La liberté crée la richesse. C'est pas clair? It is for sure that this law is a proven barrier to investment for the province as a whole. For no Anglophone residing in Quebec or Anglophones from Canada or the English-speaking countries coming to Quebec to be subjected to and obligated to comply with discriminatory language laws. Nous ne voulons plus vivre dans une situation de langue. C'est la discrimination basée sur langue. Chaque être humain est égal sous la loi. On a simplement que respecter la Commission des droits de la personne et la Charte des droits de la personne. Parce que nous vivons ici au Québec avec la discrimination basée sur langue, mais personne, not even the Human Rights Commission, does anything about it. Every human is free to choose the language they want, especially for the children. Il faut laisser les francophones choisir la langue d'enseignement de leurs enfants. It is part and parcel with the principle of free speech. C'est sûr et certain qu'au Québec, on ne vit pas dans une société qui respecte la démocratie et la liberté de choix. We will march ahead until we are satisfied as equal people with equal rights and language in our home province without state-sponsored, institutionalized discrimination. And right behind me here is the Quebec Office of the French Language, l'Office québécois de la langue française, which propagates and disseminates lies and discriminates based on language and is a safe haven for Anglophobia. And when they don't get what they want, they call their buddies, their goons over here at the Société Saint-Jean-Baptiste, plutôt Société Saint-Jean-Raciste, and they get out there and they harass individual businesses, especially ones that use English or Canadian in their signage. It's everything. Ça va faire l'anglophobie au Québec, s'il vous plaît. We will no longer tolerate abusive treatment in Quebec by irresponsible, ethnocentric governments that repetitively do nothing to allow any of Quebec's minorities to take an equal place at the head of government institutions. Pourquoi est-ce que Michael Sabia, quand il a pris le contrôle de la Caisse des dépôts, pourquoi c'était un cauchemar? Pourquoi la climat médiatique est venue le frapper? Minority quotas are required, since the provincial majority of the province takes up over 97.5% of the workforce, leaving little space for competition, little space for allophones, and certainly not anglophones, less than 1% of the civil service in Quebec. And I had noticed what it's like myself. I was forced out. I was told, "Tu ne gèles pas avec l'équipe. You're not one of us." And after all this, I agreed to go. They told me, "Hey, tu vois, c'est facile à mettre dehors les Anglais. We're all Canadians here. Les Anglais, they live in England. That's across the water. I'm sick of this discrimination, the targeting of the English language and targeting of those who wish to speak English in Quebec." L'expression, ce qui s'exprime dans la langue anglaise au Québec ne devrait pas être supprimé par des institutions comme celui derrière moi. So we need minority quotas to be allowed into the Quebec civil service. We will no longer shut our mouths and remain silent out of fear of reprisal or threats from Quebec secessionists or milices patriotiques québécoises, separatist leaders like Serge Prouveau, who threatened the life of myself and my family last year. Thankfully, he was arrested, and the milices patriotiques québécoises is next to nothing now. Their arms have been raided and their stores have been raided, so at least we don't have to deal with crazy separatist militants holding arms and coming out and attacking us. The majority of Quebecers have already decided to stay within Canada. Deux référendums perdus et déjà la NPD, l'année dernière, qui a mis enterré quasiment le Bloc québécois, ça veut dire que les Québécois ont décidé 3 fois de rester au Canada. On veut un pays uni, on ne veut plus la division basée sur l'ethnicité ou la langue dans laquelle on parle. We shall, and we will yell, from the mountaintop of Mount Royal to Ottawa to Vancouver, the east coast of Newfoundland. All English-speaking voices will be heard, bringing the theory of Quebec's Franco-supremacist stranglehold on this province to an end, and achieve a balanced society that reflects the rule of law. C'est sûr qu'au Québec, on ne vit pas avec les règles de droit. On le voit constamment avec la corruption, on voit constamment avec la caisse de dépôt. Je l'ai vu personnellement à la Commission des droits de la personne. I have been to the Human Rights Commission and told there's no proof. I show them emails, oh, there's not enough proof. Back your situation. So they dismissed my case. But the thing that's startling is that they dismiss all cases. Anglophones that go to the Human Rights Tribunal are their cases are systematically dismissed, and you can all view this online at thecanlibrary.org.
It's piracy.
We have a declaration for a post-Bill 101 Quebec. I have a dream of freedom and equality as a person who uses basic human rights with respected language in a truly democratic society, free from the revisionist history of inebriated Quebec nationalists that they continue to propagate and harass us with their never-ending dream that goes nowhere. The Quebec government itself takes 40% of its tax revenues from allophones and anglophones, yet give us a check with insufficient funds in return. They refuse to help our businesses when we phone up to the CSST, which is workers' compensation here. Further destabilizing our community from establishing entrepreneurial pursuits that create 80% of jobs, because small businesses actually create 80% of the jobs in any place. But here in Quebec, small business is shunned and making money is shunned, as our Fraser Institute has shown us on several cases. Au Québec, c'est sûr, faire de l'argent, gagner de l'argent, on a vu comme un classeur, anti-entrepreneurial. We cannot be satisfied until Bill 101 is abolished to stop this ethnic cleansing, whether it comes as bloodless forced departure by street gangs, Réseau de résistance québécoise, Société Saint-Jean raciste, les Jeunes Patriotes, Milices patriotiques québécoises. All of them harass and promote discrimination based on language and ethnicity politics. Our psychological harassment also, that English is not allowed in Quebec, and people have stopped us here, they stopped their cars and told us to go to Ontario, get the hell out of Quebec, we speak French. No, on parle anglais aussi au Québec, on est 1 million de personnes, on existe, on va partir,
Yes! Yes, Hugo, we're not leaving!
Forget about exoduses.
That's right. Stay in your home.
See nous!
C'est chez nous ici.
Hell no, we won't go!
That's right.
English is not a crime. Speaking English is not a crime, just like the OQLF constantly propagates. La langue anglaise, et ceux qui s'expriment en anglais, on n'est pas une menace pour le Québec. On est un atout. On est ouvert sur le monde. Laissez-nous ouvrir les portes. Don't put us under the bus just because we speak another language.
Right.
We have the right to work in English too, just as respect the Francophones to work in their language. And actually, 70% of French Canadians outside of Quebec are reported to do so without Bill 101 to protect them from imaginary assimilation. Plus que 70% des francophones dehors le Québec, sans la loi 101, continuent de travailler dans leur langue sans aucun problème. Pourquoi est-ce qu'on a besoin de loi pour forcer le monde à parler anglais, français? Voilà. Nobody should be forced to speak anything. They should have the choice. We have the right to put up signs in English without discrimination of commercial expression by size. As long as French is used also, we will respect bilingualism in Quebec. And that's why we want Bill 101 abolished. We need Bill 199 to replace this disgusting law to allow respect for both languages to return. Because that's the reality of Montreal. It's a bilingual city. It is not a French-only city. We live here too.
Yeah. Hear, hear.
We have the right to conduct ourselves and our lives in English and be served in our language without being refused entrance to metro stations or be told to go home or to leave the province. We have the right to choose education for our children without Bill 101's bureaucratic prevention of access to our school system. Les immigrants qui viennent au Québec, qui vont enseigner des enfants en anglais, ils n'ont pas le choix. Donc ça veut dire quoi? Que nos institutions de formation, des écoles, sont en train d'écraser. There's less than 200,000 children in these schools, in the English-speaking schools within Quebec. It should be way more than that. Way more. We should have 3, 4, maybe 500,000, but they're prevented from access because of Bill 101. It's a slow starvation of our society and part of our community in Quebec. Le Québec n'est pas une bulle francophone unilingue. This is something, a myth we have to constantly deal with. The people only want to have French in Quebec. This is not the truth. We're a million people here. Respect us. Respect, s'il vous plaît. We have the right to increase labor mobility for our children. We have the right to live in a society free of discrimination laws. It is obvious to me now that even the Human Rights Commission is pretty much useless in protecting our minority rights. But all you have to do is read the Senate Standing Report Committee from Francophones André Champagne and Ria Chaput from the Maritimes, and they'll tell you very clearly we're left in a rights void.
You're not really the fingers here, man. It's okay, like peace.
I like it.
That's their peace sign. They are defensive.
The Human Rights Commission is useless in protecting our rights. They even reject civil evidence, as posted by mail documentation and exclusion, which comes in messages like "Tu ne jettes pas avec l'équipe." This is what you'll be told in the government. You just don't fit in. We don't have work for you here. That's where our taxes go. It's funding these ethno-nationalists of exclusion, racism, which really the terminology is linguicism. And linguicism means discrimination based on language. So when we use terms, let's use linguicism instead of racism. It's more particular.
It's a mouthful.
35 years ago, last week, an intellectual bigot by the name of Camille Laurent, this man over here, published his infamous piece of linguicism, the Maître chez nous, loi 101, this Bill 101. La loi 101, c'est pour mater ses propres voisins anglophones. Et vous savez très bien, c'est négligence totale des anglophones du Québec. Et nous voici 35 ans plus tard avec un autre exode en vue. We don't want another exodus. We must stop this before history repeats itself. Pour quelle raison? Car elles veulent une société pure laine francophone. Elle-même nous a dit qu'elle appliquera, par les Marois dont je parle, des règles plus fortes pour épurer le Québec de ses minorités. Pauline Marois wants to clean Quebec of everybody else except for her clan. We know what that clan is.
Tell her to come clean my house.
Yeah. Great job, man. Great job. Pauline Marois, she wants a société pure blanc francophone. Nobody else, no minorities, nobody from anywhere else can come in except for the clan. Nous avise qu'elle appliquera des règles plus fortes. She wants to impose more stringent parts of the Bill 101 to improve it, as in her Maître chez nous 2.0. This is really quite disgusting that nobody's standing up to this. That's one of the reasons why we're here today. Fantastic job, everyone, for coming. This is the biggest turnout I've seen.
All the way from Ontario.
From Ontario.
Support you guys.
Thanks.
A little applause to our friends.
Thank you for the support.
We believe
from
in you
Ontario.
guys.
Solidarity.
That's right. Solidarity.
Solidarity.
we stand divided, we fall.
Yeah. When Josh Freed wrote an article noting recently that when Madame Marois says "à nous de choisir," she doesn't mean us. She doesn't mean anglophones. She doesn't mean anybody else except for her clan. As in nous, les maudits anglo. Non, vous êtes pas partie de nous. Vous ne faites pas chez nous. Vous n'êtes pas québécois parce que vous parlez pas le français. Oui, on parle français. We are 80% bilingual. Yet we're told we don't belong here. We don't belong and have jobs in the federal government. Provincial government, sorry. Car Madame Petit Peuple Marois a peur de ses voisins anglo-québécois. It's obvious that Pauline Marois is a complete anglophobe. And at the same time, we now have our desperate charade, who was ready last week to throw our community under the bus again by promising to impose Bill 101 on federal institutions, despite the equivalent NDP bill that was blocked by federal Liberals and Conservatives, just to get his minority government. This is Shari who's desperate.
We'll talk to him.
We have political losership in Quebec.
Go chat.
After years and years of unabated corruption,
Yo, you too.
our vote and voices are taken for granted without question by the Liberal Party of Quebec. The worst of it all is that our current Premier added to the xenophobic institution right behind me. Why did Charest add to this institution? It is clear that we must stand up for our rights, since none of our elected officials will. Speaking and working in English Quebec is not a crime. Respectez notre langue, s'il vous plaît. Si vous voulez respect pour la langue française au Canada, respectez notre langue au Québec, s'il vous plaît. Thank you all very much for coming, taking the time away from your families on this holiday, and to stand up for your rights.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
Nice job. Very good. Now, if I only know how to turn this off.